Guys, this is DFS Chan on September 24th. I'll be talking about tomorrow's soccer EPL slate. This is going to be previewing the 4-game slate that kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So I will be talking about each of these matchups and see what players to focus and what my player pool will be. This is the website that I use for soccer scores and lineups and everything. It's called SofaScore, and it's a fairly, accurate website that I use to gain any insights or lineup previews and everything. So yeah, let's dive into it. Here, the first matchup of the day is called Everton. It's between Everton and Norwich City. As you can see, Everton is a slight favorite here. They're the home team. And Norwich City, as you can see here on the standings, Norwich City is dead last. They're one of the teams that got promoted to EPL. But yeah, so, it's supposedly Everton, should win this matchup. But they are missing some players and key players that I think are important for their success. So yeah, let's dive in. So for Everton's side, really Lucas Digne, you have to start with him because he's been taking, he's the left back and everybody loves to play Digne, but he actually, as of late, he actually lost some set shares to Andros Townsend. And Andros Townsend has been the best player for that team, in my opinion. He's been doing everything from, share of set pieces and open play, crosses, and chances created, shots. So really, he's the juggernaut, in my opinion. He's been in great form for Everton. And Everton is missing like Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. Those are the forwards that usually play up here, but they're not going to be playing, it looks like, for tomorrow's game. So the offense will go through Townsend, in my opinion, and then Digne will maybe have a share of set pieces in the back from the defense. So he makes an interesting GPP play, in my opinion, but Andros Townsend would be one of my core plays for Everton. And then for GPP purposes, I like Demarai Gray. I think he has been playing well as well since he came back to EPL. And then Doucouré, he's been in good form as well. I know he plays in the central mid position where you don't really get as many peripheral points in open play, but he's been more on the attacking side than Allen is. So I definitely prefer Doucouré over Allen from that position. But yeah, Townsend and everybody else for GPP. I think Digne maybe cash, but I think he's just too expensive for my taste, just because he has lost a share of set pieces to Townsend. Rondon, here, the striker. For GPP purposes, he might be a cheap goal play, but I don't know if I like him. And Everton without Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin, and also Pickford is not starting in in the goal. Begovic, and he's starting, so I don't know if I'm as confident as minus 160 as a favorite for Everton. But so yeah, and then on the other side of the matchup, speaking of which, Norwich City is a decent play, I think, if you are a betting person. Just because, like I said, Everton is missing some key players due to injuries. But Norwich City goes through Milad Rashica. Rashica is a great player, just stuck on a bad team, I think. He takes a lot of set pieces. He is a great play in open play as well. If you are playing them as the underdog, if you are playing them for GPP purposes, I would pair him with Pukki. Pukki is a good striker as well. And then Zolis, he's been a youngster who's been playing well as well. So I wouldn't rule out Norwich City. I think any of these pieces here makes a good GPP play. Also, their wingbacks, their fullbacks, Max Aarons and Brandon Williams, I think they're the cheap fullback plays that you can do for GPP purposes. So I definitely, have some share of Norwich City, I think. I don't think they are as big of an underdog as the odds indicate. And then Billy Gilmore, I think he's still too cheap for the fact that he still have a piece of share of set pieces here, along with Rashika. So I think Billy Gilmore and Rashika would make interesting GPP cash plays. And then for GPP, Pookie, Zolas, and then maybe some fullback here. Let's dive into Leeds United and West Ham United. This has the highest total goals over under. So it's going to be an open play. And just like Everton, Leeds United is missing some key players on that team. And West Ham has been playing well. I mean, this is going to be an open play where, they constantly attack and everything. So I think I love, getting exposure to this matchup. So let's start with Leeds. Obviously, it goes through Rafinha. Rafinha is actually not listed on here. I know he's been going through some injury issues. So they say he's doubtful, but there's a good chance that he might play. Now, along with Rafinha, they have these injuries. Ailing, Strick is already out. Jack Harrison is doubtful because he had COVID. Bamford is already out, their main striker. So they have a lot of players that are out that usually start. And I hope that Rafinha starts, because if he starts, I would definitely plug him in my cash play optimal lineup. Even for GPP, I mean, he has definitely a good open play upside as well. So I'll definitely target Rafinha if he starts, and if he doesn't, I don't like Leeds United as much because they don't really have as many playmakers. I know Daniel James maybe can make some plays, but really, other than him, I don't know, Calvin Phillips may have to drop back into center back position depending on what all these injuries, how these injuries play out. But from that, where the position is, he's not as good of a play as if he would be playing up top here in one of the attacking midfielder positions. Firpo, I think he's the only fullback that you can trust that will start in the fullback position. But he doesn't really have as much, fullback attacking upside. So I think if the salary fits, then you can play him. But I just don't like Leeds if Rafinha is not playing. Now, on the other side of the matchup, West Ham United is a very interesting play. I mean, they've been in really good form. Obviously, Mikel Antonio has been scoring goals and having assists, nonstop. He did not play one of the games this past week due to suspension, but he's a great play. I think he will definitely net a goal or get an assist if West Ham scores. Jared Bowen is a good cash play. I mean, obviously, he takes a lot of corner kicks and set pieces. And then Sid Benrahma, Pablo Fornals. I mean, these two are good GPP plays. They can definitely score a goal. And Susek tends to attack a lot, and Rice does too lately. So I mean, really, West Ham, like I said, they love to play, with attacking in mind. So yeah, and I think Cresswell and Kufal is definitely in play for GPP as well. If it's an open play, that they will more likely to go up and down. Now, warning to one of those fullback is whichever side Rafinha does play, whichever like left side or right side, I would not play the fullback on that side. So obviously, just wait until those starting lineups come out at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and then see where Rafinha lines up. And then I'm definitely not going to have exposure to that fullback on that exact same side, because Rafinha he's the main engine for Leeds, and the defender on that side will have to drop back a little more than usual. The next matchup of the day is on the slate is Leicester City versus Burnley. Leicester City is the biggest favorite, even though they're at -175. That's how close these 4 games are on the slate for DraftKings. Leicester City, let's talk about them since they're the biggest favorite. Yuri Tillemans and Ryan Bertrand, they share set pieces. When Bertrand went off, got subbed out, Tielemans dominated and had a monopoly on set pieces. So I definitely prefer Tielemans over Bertrand in that regard. Obviously, Bertrand is a defender and Tielemans is a midfielder, but if you are getting exposure to Leicester City, I definitely have preference on Tielemans over Bertrand. Now, other plays, I mean, Madison is real cheap on DraftKings. As you know, last year, if you play Madison at, was it 6,000, 7,000, you'd think you would have a steal. But this year, I mean, he's been struggling since he came back from that injury he had. So who knows? I mean, he doesn't have a share of set pieces anymore. In the open play, he hasn't really shown that, great of a play maker that he used to be. So maybe he's, his career is dwindling. I hope not. I hope he comes back and snaps out of it. But that's what it is right now. And then Harvey Barnes, I mean, he's been playing well as of late. I think he makes a very interesting GPP play before he fully come to fruition. I think we can get ahead of the curve and then play Barnes for GPP purposes. I really like him in a setting like this as well against Burnley. Burnley likes to play stingy a little bit, but I like Barnes from attacking from the wings here. And then, yeah, I mean, Vardy, obviously, he likes to score goals. If you think Leicester City will dominate, Vardy will definitely net a goal or two. He's, on the penalty kicks duties as well. So I think he makes an interesting GPP play. And I'm not really interested in Bertrand or Castagne. I mean, they don't really like to go up as much as, like, let's say, other fullbacks that we just talked about. Bertrand, I mean, without share of set pieces, his open play has been horrible. So I'm not really interested in that. On the other side of the matchup, Burnley crosses. McNeil is a master at crossing. He shares set pieces, unfortunately, with Ashley Westwood. So those two make very good cash plays, I think. If you think Burnley can hang with Leicester City, which I believe they can, I think if they go up, McNeil's definitely going to have a share of crosses in open play, and then Westwood from set pieces, and he's more likely to score a goal than McNeil. So I think Westwood makes an interesting GPP play if you think Burnley will score. Ashley Barnes and Chris Wood, I mean, they're strikers. They can probably net a goal or two if they get opportunities, but, I don't think I'm too interested in that. And then, yeah, Gudmundsson, Loughton, Taylor. As you can see, I mean, I like to focus on the players on the outside because they have more open space to, maneuver around and, cross the ball or create chances, obviously. And that's the nature of soccer DFS for those of you who are playing for the first time. So, yeah, I mean, depending on what formation, in starting lineups, how they line up in the formation at 9 a.m. when they come out. You want to see what the pricing is for those players out on the side, on the fullback side, or out on the midfielding, outside midfielder positions. So that's really how we analyze. But there are some players, like I said, that do not go up on the side as much, while obviously reducing the likelihood that they're going to cross the ball or create chances. So that's just based on the industry knowledge and based on the stats. But yeah, like Loughton, Charlie Taylor, they used to cross a lot more like last year, but I don't know, this year they've been kind of bad. Burnley has been kind of bad, and let's see where they are at. Yeah, I mean, they're in the second to the last place on the standings. So, and Leicester really needs this win. So we'll see what happens. They are the biggest favorite. Last matchup of the slate, Watford versus Newcastle United. Watford is the slight favorite here. I love Watford. I've been becoming a Watford fan lately. I'm watching them, especially Ismail Assar. I mean, he is one of my favorite players to watch, in my opinion. And I think, I mean, this has a very low goals total, but given that Sarr and Alan Saint-Maximin are both in this game, which they both are probably the two best open play attackers, maybe aside from like Adama Traore, like just pure agility and strength standpoint. I mean, I love these two players in open play. I do think the total goals, I mean, for those bettors out there, this is another prop bet that I would, I would just, smash on. I think there are definitely going to be goals here. I think a lot of people think this is going to be a boring matchup, but I think this is going to be more open than people think. So let's talk about each team. Watford, like I said, I love Sarr. Sarr is one of my core plays. Newcastle, as you guys know from the last video, Newcastle gives up a lot of peripheral points. Like they are so bad at defense. They've been better lately as of like these past 2 weeks or so. But I just love the fact that Sarr is going up against one of the worst defenses. I mean, Newcastle's here, one of the bottom 3 teams for the reason their defense is not very good. So I love Sarr, and I love Cleverly for cash. I mean, for his pricing, he's taking all the set pieces now. And then I love Emmanuel Dennis. He's like a really hot or cold. I mean, he'll score either 20 points or 2 points, depending on what day it is. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously that sounds like a GPP play, as you guys know. Their fullbacks, I'm not too interested. I mean, Danny Rose, when he was real cheap, I'd be interested, but he's not that cheap. Kiko Femenia, I mean, I like him more than Danny Rose, but I just feel like Sarr on the same side. I don't know if I like him as much for crossing purposes. And then on the other side of the matchup, like I said, ASM, Allen St. great play. I know he doesn't really have a share of set pieces, but in the open play, he creates a lot of chances. Now, Matt Ritchie here, left back, my favorite defender of the day. He's going to put up a lot of crosses, set pieces. I love Ritchie. And then maybe as a pivot, I like Manquillo for GPP, but Ritchie, yeah, I like him a lot. And what I expected to be a more open game than other people think. So Ritchie, love him as a core play, ASM, GPP, and then maybe some cash if you are playing with cash with Flair. Yeah, so that's really all the 4 games that I have for you guys. And then let me go over the cheat sheet that I created, and I'll share this to the premium members. And I have more. I'm gonna be adding more to this, but this is what I have so far. Like I said, I'm gonna, this is gonna be my player pool, and hopefully this will help you to build some, lineups for you guys to be able to take down some contests and, make some money. So if you guys have any questions on the soccer slate, let me know. I know some of you guys have never played soccer DFS. It's a very interesting and very, very different animal, unlike like NBA or, MLB or NFL. There are a lot more thinkings involved, I think, in my opinion, and tinkering, because based on the starting lineups that come out an hour before. So I think that's just the nature of soccer DFS. So kind of have to be, staying up as to what's going on the last hour or so, kind of like NBA. I mean, we've seen a lot of late game scratches that provide value and everything. And so it's kind of like that, but you kind of know, what you're gonna have as a backup plan and everything. But anyway, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this was helpful. I will be back with another soccer slate preview video next week. And then until then, hope you guys have a good day and good weekend.